maybe I'll just take the whole day off and we can spend it talking about ... Christmas traditions. And Neil says, you mean like eating cookies off each other's naked bodies? Like the way
Christmas traditions.
Which, by the way, last week we had an orgy. So like Christmas traditions,
obviously,
as we so often say.
Hello.
Welcome to Say Smut, a literary podcast for readers and non-readers.
That is Sarah, and she loves books.
And that is Hope. She loves talking to me about books. Each episode, I break down the plots of some pretty wild books to Hope, who has not read them. I'm going to have a disclaimer today, because we have insane winds going on right now.
For sure, here too.
Yeah, and the house is like crackling around me. Like I feel like almost like my siding is like rippling or something. Like it just sounds funky.
Yeah.
And so
you can't hear it in the pod, but I know what you mean.
Not. Yeah. I don't know. It's been kind of quiet the last few minutes, but like all this afternoon, it's been wild, like how loud it gets. So I don't know if you're going to be able to hear that. And I have a grumpy kitty and he just keeps screaming at me. And so if he comes and voices his opinion, just respect the space. You know, he's allowed to chat too. Hope you are frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Okay,
you're
great.
back.
I was going to say, we've had a lot of dog opinion representation on this podcast, and it's time to represent the cats.
It really is. It's time for the cats to have a moment. So with that said, please be kind to us. Also, it's so cute because my other kitty just sits in front of the vent now. Mm-hmm. And she's never done that before. And she only does it in this room. And so she's all curled up in front of the vent. And I'm like, I hope you're just enjoying your life.
Just being warm, having a good time.
Here's my question. I saw this on TikTok. A person goes, would you rather swap lives with your pet for a week or talk to them for 10 minutes?
I feel like I would want it to be the reverse, as in I would want to be able to talk to them for a week and be them for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
be them for 10 minutes.
But that's not the rules.
My preferred. I guess talk to them.
Yeah, I think pretty much the consensus online was talk to them. Because I think I'd get too bored if I was being honest, and I'd hate that I couldn't express myself. For a week.
I think it would be a great vacation, but I don't want to eat dog food.
No,
or poop outside.
That's so fair.
Yeah, personally,
I want to talk to them. I want to know what's going on. If I had Ruthie as a child, I would want to know what's her deal. Like, hey, can we come to an agreement?
What's
on
your
something?
whole deal,
girly?
What's your whole deal?
What are you trying to express to me in these moments so I can help you better?
What is up?
Yeah, precisely. Okay, so now that we've gotten our fun, and you, just for the record, you have not watched Heated Rivalry.
No.
Okay. I want people to know we are not avoiding it. We will talk about it.
I want the audience to keep me accountable. Yeah, I have not watched it yet, and I need to watch it.
The 5th episode comes out tomorrow. Well, I guess technically like midnight tonight, but then like, what does that mean for us in the Midwest? It means like 3 a.m. or something. But then next week's the last episode. So...
It's all happening.
It's all happening.
I mean, at this point, I might as well just wait for the last episode to come out.
Yeah, but I want to talk about it.
We'll see what happens over the holidays.
We also were recently talking that at the end of January, we have Bridgerton.
Yes, that is also true.
So we will have to do a recap of my second least favorite book of the Bridgerton series.
Really get the people excited, Sarah.
Well, look, I feel like we already, we did the worst one to me, in my opinion, which is Colin's book. And I don't like the insta love of the Cinderella story that comes with Benedict's book. It's just, that's not my flavor of book. I don't like instant love as quickly. So, And I'm curious how they're going to rework it, because in the book of in Benedict, right? I'm saying that right. It's not Bennett. It's Benedict. Yes.
Yeah.
Benny's book. It's they're very isolated because he's out in the country or like at a house in the country, and they are kind of alone the whole time. And clearly that's not what's going to happen here, because I'm like, you have side quests happening in these storylines
So many side quests to keep track
like,
of.
so you can't have them out in the country doing these things like you did in the book. So I'm curious how much they're going to change is my point. So we will have to get into that next month. Boy,
it's coming up quick. It's the 18th as we're recording. That's crazy.
Yeah. I can't believe I was talking about things I wanted to accomplish in 2025 that I haven't yet. And I'm like, I have 2 weeks. I've got like 2 weeks to get this shit together. Otherwise, this is going to be a big F on my annual report.
The most I want to accomplish in the next 2 weeks is relaxation, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, especially because you've been working very hard in the bakery.
I have, just baking and making all the time.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into our book. We are going to cover today Naughty Neil by Louisa Masters. And I want to go into a couple of content warnings, obviously sexual content, and there is talk of sex work, but it's all very positive, nothing concerning. And then I will just briefly in one sentence mention the loss of a parent to cancer. It's not going to be a main plot point though. Okay. This book has a 3.82 on Storygraph and a 4.08 on Goodreads. I know, really.
High ratings
all around. Louisa Masters started reading romance much earlier than her mother thought she should. While other teenagers were sneaking out of the house, Louisa was working out how to read romance novels without being discovered. Girl, me too. As an adult, she feeds her addiction in every spare second, only occasionally tearing herself away to do things like answer the phone and pay bills. She lives in Melbourne, Australia, where she whines about the weather for most of the year while secretly admitting she'll probably never move.
Fair enough.
Girl, that's one of the most honest bios I've ever seen in my life.
Ain't that the way it is sometimes?
Girly, we all are there. All right, so to dive into our book, I had one of the moments that I did last week where we dove into a world that is not our own. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And they kind of immediately assume that you know that this is a paranormal environment, but you don't know the rules. And so whatever. We are entering, though, something that is familiar to both of us, which is a corporate workspace.
I wish it wasn't, but it is.
I wish it wasn't.
Dang.
You know that feeling when you have like one more thing to do before you're done with work for the day?
Yeah.
And you're like, one last hurdle, right?
Yes.
That is where our first main character, Mark, is in his day. He works for an official government agency called the Community of Species Government.
Okay.
CSG, as some call it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I need to add so much backstory. And I should admit now that this is like in the series of books that this comes in, there's book 1 and then there's book 1.5. This is 1.5.
Okay.
And I think it still stands alone. I think you can still read it as a standalone because I did and everything made sense. But if you want more context, definitely read book 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's clearly world building and stuff in there too.
We're going to do a more abridged world building.
Exactly. So here's the synopsis of how we got here. There was a big war between the paranormal species, think about like demons, vampires, incubi, sorcerers, all that, and the humans. When the humans were trying to kill out the paranormal years ago, like long ago, they were like, we're trying to kill you out.
Sure.
And now the general human public does not know about paranormal beings because the paranormal beings had to like wipe all the humans' memories to be like, stop killing us. We're just going to act like you don't even know us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our existence is secret now.
Precisely. So they formed this special government after that war to kind of be like, okay, now we're on our own. We are no longer we're no longer dealing with the humans.
Right. We're self-governing.
And that leads us to Mark being in this position. It is not super often, but sometimes humans will procreate with a paranormal species and the byproduct of that affair or that relationship does not know that they are of another species. Okay.
Sure.
And they typically need to get their shit together by adulthood so their magical elements don't run rapid. Like, for example, if you, I don't know, are part vampire, you're probably going to need blood at a very young age, right? Or I guess, what was it? Oh, demons can teleport. And so that typically manifests during their puberty years, which can be very troubling if you are, you know, a teen going through puberty,
discovering your body and suddenly teleporting at the same time.
Exactly. And then sometimes it's later on, it's a little later in life, you know. But what Mark does is he gets to come in and inform those people what they are and like break the news to them.
Oh, he is like Hagrid.
Yes, he is Hagrid in Harry Potter. Or I was thinking like Jerry Springer being like, you are the child of.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yes. Okay. So Mark's got this one last call he's got to go on because this vampire reported her neighbor who she thinks is an incubus. And Mark's like, this will be a piece of cake. Incubi are really easy to deal with. They don't typically have anger issues, but you know, like, because sometimes when you break the news, people don't handle it well, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah, when you find out who you are.
Yeah, and some people have better temperaments. He's like, you know, this will be a piece of cake, and then I'll be able to go and have my nice night where I'll hook up with somebody and have a great evening, right? So he heads to this quaint little neighborhood, which is all decorated for the holidays, and he briefly talks to this neighbor who's the vampire who reported this guy in. And apparently the person in question is very, very friendly and giving off enthrallment. Okay.
Sure.
Which can make people feel positive feelings, entice them in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear this guy doesn't know he's doing this.
Right.
Like, he's just like, I'm just happy to be a neighbor. I just am excited to have you in the neighborhood and I want to welcome you. And, you know, if you ever need a babysitter, I work nights. So like, I would be happy to babysit, all the things. And this woman was like, I now understand why my human husband was really compelled to get this house in this neighborhood. Like, it's clear this energy is coming off on him. So when he approaches the house, it's kind of funny because Mark is like, I don't get the whole Christmas thing. And I love this concept that we have now added into these paranormal holiday smut books, which is that these not human people are like, I don't understand Christmas.
I don't really get this.
What do you
conceptually?
Even the most commercialized version of Christmas, he's like, I don't understand how a guy does home invasion and you're supposed to get your kids excited for it. And it's like, okay. And for reference, I should note, Mark is a hellhound.
Okay.
And all of these paranormal beings live for a very long time. So even though he looks hot and young, he is actually like in his 70s.
Sure.
Okay. You've been around for that long. Okay. And you're telling me you have like no concept of what Christmas is and you don't understand it.
You really don't understand holiday cheer.
Yeah. So I just find that fascinating that we just add that into it. Little plug here. Mark is expressing his confusion and references blow up holiday decorations in the yard. And if you want a book on blow up holiday decorations,
oh my gosh,
please go to episode.
Do we have one for you, my friend?
45, Smashed by the Christmas Inflatables. It is an iconic one. It's definitely one for the books. So back to our story. All right. Mark goes to knock on the door, but he is not anticipating to see the hottest man in tiny, tiny, itty bitty cotton booty shorts to answer. Okay.
Booty shorts.
I'm imagining, did they call them Sophie shorts? You know, you were in volleyball or whatever.
Roll them down.
Yes.
Several.
Yes.
Not just, yes. I had many pair.
Oh yeah. So I'm imagining those types of shorts. Spoiler alert, this is Neil. Okay. Mark's a little struck by Neil, but he's like, okay, I'm here for work. I have got to get it together.
I will definitely not get distracted on my work mission.
Never. So Neil asks Mark why he's there. And he's like, hi, I'm Mark. I'm from CSG. As you know,
like what? CSG.
I was wondering if I could come in and just have a word, and And obviously Neil is hesitant, but then he goes, quote, I'm probably being an idiot, but you seem like good people. There's something about you that makes me think of puppies, and I love puppies. Come on in.
Makes sense to me. He's a hellhound. And if I saw a hellhound, despite myself, I would be like, I love dogs.
I do love a puppy.
I love puppies. Everything's a puppy.
And so Neil goes, okay, well, I will say Mark's like, this man has no sense of self-preservation. So like concerning. But Neil goes, puts a shirt on, and they sit down, and Mark very gently says that he's here on behalf of the government and is identifying people with genetic conditions that they should be aware about. And Neil's like, oh, do you think I like have a heart condition or something? And Mark's like, no, your father was an incubus, and therefore you are an incubus. So at this point in time, I would like you, Hope, to tell us what that means for our dear, dear Neil.
Yes, I would love to do that in the segment that I'm going to roll into with whatever tomorrow brings, I'll be there with open arms and open eyes. Yeah. Rock/alt band Incubus formed in 1991 in Calabasas, California by vocalist Brandon Boyd, lead guitarist Mike Enzinger, and drummer Jose Pasilius. Later to include some other members. Who could care? My favorite song by Incubus is their 1999 hit Drive, which I once cryptically posted as a Facebook status in 2009, shortly before being dumped with my junior year boyfriend.
That is hilarious, Hope. It took me about 20 seconds for me to get on board there with you, to understand what you were doing with this bit. And the way you went leaps, bounds, miles with it. I really appreciate your dedication.
What I'm actually here to talk about is the other Incubus. And so thank you so much to my sources. Sorry, my window just went crazy on me. Myth and Folklore Wiki, CambridgeDictionary.org, and Wikipedia. By definition, CambridgeDictionary.com defines an incubus as a male spirit, a male evil spirit, that has sex with people in their sleep, the male equivalent of a succubus. According to Myth and Folklore Wiki, they are demons that can enter dreams and impregnate women, maybe even sex them to death by getting them exhausted by having sex with them so often. I have several quick facts to share. 1, they're beautiful. Mm-hmm. 2, incubus and succubus are maybe the same thing and may be able to swap genders as needed. Some people think that, some people don't. Okay. But they are generally the equivalent. The incubus is like the male opposite of, or not opposite, but like the male equivalent of a succubus, which is like a generally female depicted demon who will have sex with you in your sleep. A child, I put this in research just kind of on a whim, and I'm so glad I did because it feels relevant. A child with human and incubus parents will have powers like persuasiveness. This is from the Myth and Folklore Wiki. The origin of incubi goes back to Judeo-Christian mythology, and the first incubus was Lilu, who is the demon Lilith's counterpart. And that is the end of my research.
Great. I love it. So I think this is fascinating because obviously it's just like in the book, they're very much like, it's not a sex demon. Like they're not demons. That's a misconception.
You're being racist.
And I love that you're like, no, they're sex demons and they can literally sex people to death. Oh my God.
They can. You could get real tired. I feel like all of my information didn't. Oh, yes. Here's another thing. I don't know how I skipped over this. If you have sex with one several times, you'll grow a need to fuck them more and more over time. And you may also go crazy because they take your life essence.
Oh. So
how'd I skip that bullet point?
Well, now I have a lot more questions based on how this book is going to go.
And again, a part incubus child will have powers.
Well, and then Mark does say, he says at one point something about how, well, okay. Neil says that he's like, I didn't know I was part incubus. And Mark's like, technically you're full incubus. So it must be like you're just it or you're not it. Like you can't say you're half.
Sure.
Like you have it or you don't have it. Yes. I'm going to jump back in because obviously Neil thinks he's being fucked with. right? He's like, this is a joke. Like, haha, who sent you? And Mark decides to pull up receipts. He's like, okay, well, have you ever like felt an overwhelming sense of hunger that you couldn't satiate? And he's like, yeah, actually I have. He's like, well, incubi feed off of sexual energy. So if you don't have that, you're typically looking for that elsewhere, like in food. And the food will not sustain you because your hunger is actually coming from sexual energy.
Yeah.
He also
the food's
points
not sexy
no.
in that way.
So he says something along the lines of also like, you know, you're going to heal faster. And he goes, oh yeah, at one point we thought I broke my ankle, but by the time we got to the doctor, we realized it wasn't that bad. Like things like that, where he's like, he's kind of putting it together.
They're science. Yeah.
And Mark points out that many incubi take on jobs in sex work or adult entertainment, or even like jobs that surround those careers.
Right.
Because he's like, yeah. And so he's like, even if you're like a bodyguard for a sex worker or like a nightclub or something, you're around the energy enough, even if you're standing outside the door, you know, somebody being serviced in some way, you're still getting that energy filled.
Right. Yeah.
Turns out Neil works for a strip club called Naughty Boys. And I think it's important to note that boys is spelled Boyzz.
Good. The second Z really does a lot.
And Mark is concerned that they dress up as like bees or something in this. They do not. Just
fair question.
But fair question.
Fair question.
And Neil's like, you know what? That does kind of make sense because like I can't take off more than one day of work or I get like really tired and really hungry and like I get 2 days off a week, but I have to separate them because I have to work.
Can you imagine if being off work had the opposite effect that it does in real life, which is make your life worse?
That
you just had to be at work to feel good.
This feels like capitalist propaganda right here.
I love my job. And everyone I work with. I want to clarify, but if I could not survive outside of being at work and being outside of work made me tired and feel bad and awful, that would be terrible.
Yes. So Neil's like, no way. I've had like sex like half a dozen times. There's no way. I'm not like that sexual of a person. And Mark is like shocked because he's like, well, you are like the sexiest person I've ever seen in my life. But also you're pretty much saying you've had sex like 6 times in your 27 years of life. And like you're practically a little virgin. Like, what do you mean? And
what should I say? Leave him alone. It doesn't matter.
I think he's just shocked because he's like, you are so hot. Like I can't, and you are an incubus. So I can't imagine you not getting laid. So, but he keeps explaining like it again, doesn't matter. You just need to be around the energy being fed. Right. At one point, Neil needs like a mental break. So he goes to get Mark a drink and some Christmas cookies. And it's important to note now for later on in the story that Neil loves to bake and makes really, really great holiday cookies. And when he brings them back, Mark is so excited. And not just like oh, yay, I love cookies. It's like oh my gosh, foaming at the mouth, like so excited to have cookies in front of him.
Cookies.
That's because Mark's old boss, aka book number uno, was a human, which wasn't common for their little government agency, right? Because
because of the secretness.
Yes. So he decides, okay, I think you've cut out again. Are you going to come back? You're going to come back? Wait, are you coming back? Yes, there you are. Okay, there you are.
Yeah,
you like completely freeze if you want to mark
when that
time.
happens I get a wheel over my face, so I'm seeing it happen when it happens.
Okay I just want to make sure because I was like, I don't want to start this whole thing over if we don't have to. I gotta think where I was. Mark's old boss used to bring in Christmas cookies for the team, and because he's no longer the boss because he's been head hunted and he's now working for a different department, they no longer have a hookup for Christmas cookies, and none of them are human. None of them celebrate Christmas. And so, and it's pointed out they could purchase it at the store, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And I can only equate it to like having a hookup for Girl Scout cookies, like being like, I need to find a place to get this. So Mark eats 12 of the Christmas cookies right there.
It's a lot of cookies, my friend.
It is. Meanwhile, so keep that in the back of your head. That's going to be important later. Not important now. Going back into the story. Internally, Neil is freaking out and he's like, quote, Mom, crap, did she even know? Surely she'd have told me if she knew that my dad was a sex demon or whatever. She mustn't have known, huh? Sorry, I'm saying this in like a very, very stiff manner, but he goes on to say, is this why I have a weird dick? Mom said my dad's was the same.
An interesting bit of information to impart on your child, but I suppose if your child's dick is particularly weird and matches that of his dad's, it's information you might share so he doesn't feel too awkward about it.
Look, all of our privates look all different.
They look
We
all
all know
different.
this. We all know this. I
true.
will say once we get a description of his, it's very, very different. So it should be noted now that we cannot go and talk and get notes from Neil's mom because she has passed of cancer.
Rest in peace.
I just in case anybody is like, why don't we just call up Neil's mom? We cannot do that. Okay. So as he's thinking about it, he's like, I need proof. So Mark, can you provide some physical, visible proof for me? And Mark says, quote, I say this with as much professionalism as I can muster. You can find proof in your pants. And then he goes on to say, quote, incubus penis shape is different from human. Your penis has two segments, somewhat like the body of a wasp.
Wow. Interesting.
It looks like a stinger.
Yeah, that's different.
It sure is. Neil freaks out even more, being like, you're a little perv. You've been watching me, or somebody at the club told you what my penis looked like. Mark's like, I have not been spying on you. I can actually show you. And then like before he can even finish the sentence, Neil interrupts and is like, oh, hell no, you are not taking your pants off in my living room, you perverted creep. This is a direct quote, by the way. I knew this was some kind of sex cult. I will not be a pawn for your orgies.
He will not.
I appreciate his boundaries.
He does not consent to being a pawn in your orgy.
Mark is quick to be like, I'm not dropping my pants. There's no orgies. I am a shifter. So I was going to show you me shifting. Neil gets so excited because he's like, wait. You're telling me that like Teen Wolf has been real this whole time? I'm signing up. And he's like, no, I'm not a werewolf. I'm not a werewolf. I got to find the right word for this because he doesn't use the word hellhound because he doesn't want to freak him out. So he says a canid shifter.
Canine? Because like canine is a dog. So canine.
Nide. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
He essentially is like, yeah, I'm a dog.
I'm a dog shifty kind of guy.
Yeah. So he shifts into a hellhound, which is essentially a giant wolf. And at first Neil is a little afraid, but then Mark does that little like head cock that like makes dogs cute. Yeah. And Neil immediately melts. He's like giving him pets. He's like, he literally goes on a rampage while he's like giving him full body rubs saying, who's a good boy? Aren't you sweet? You're so wonderful. Aren't you? Who's a good boy? Mark's a good. And then he's like, holy fuck, what am I doing?
He was like, wait a minute. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. This was so inappropriate. And like, then Mark kind of gives him the puppy dog eyes where he's like, no, keep going.
He was like, no, pets are great.
No, I love the pets. And he's like, no. We need to have a conversation. We need to, you come back to two-legged form. And he goes, okay, fine. So anyway, they kind of get into a conversation about how like, okay, what happens next? Essentially, somebody is going to, they're going to come and talk to him and essentially help him get his shit under control. So he's not brainwashing his peers and like brainwashing his neighbors. Because he's all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I am like shocked to find out that I've been doing this to other people and I don't want to wash them.
Charm people a whole lot all the time.
Yeah. So he's like, somebody will come and help you out with that. And he's like, we can even do some meditation and we'll get you connected with resources. We'll get you connected with people in your community who can learn about your heritage. You can learn about the things that your people actually celebrate. It's very, very sweet. And so Anyway, so they have this beautiful moment of like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. Right?
No, you're
Okay.
perfect just the way you are.
So now we're going to skip 3 weeks later. Okay. And he's meeting with, he being Neil is meeting with this counselor or this representative and being like, I'm doing so much better. Like I've gotten this all under control. He's like, I'm even being careful about it at work because he's like, even though now I'm more aware of it, like tips have gone up for me a little bit, but I'm trying not to like get people throwing $100 bills at me because I'm trying to be horny.
I'm trying not to manipulate people, trying to do like a normal amount of getting tips.
Yes, exactly. So very, very sweet. Like we're seeing progress. He goes to work. All right. His work obviously is a strip club. And this night he is dressing up as sexy Santa.
Obviously.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And I guess like they don't put in extra padding because like, you know, it's not sexy when you take off the Santa jacket and there's padding underneath.
Buff. If you have a fake padded tummy underneath there, that's going to look silly.
That's going to look very silly. But he's got like, you know, sequins and Velcro to rip everything off. And when he goes out on stage, he sees somebody out in that crowd. You want to guess who it is?
Is it Mark?
It sure is Mark.
I'm not sure if that's a conflict of interest or not, Mark, but okay.
Mark is sitting out in the crowd. And so Neil has a moment of, I have to focus and do a good job for my customers, but also I want to do a good job for Mark. Yeah. And so after he's done being sexy Santa, by the way, the way we get the title to the book is because the MC announces him as Naughty Neil.
I was wondering when he would become naughty.
When is he going on that naughty list? Because he seems very nice to me.
This Neil seems incredibly nice. And I was promised one naughty Neil.
Yeah. Well, he was very naughty on stage, but did a great job at being naughty. And he loves his job. Like he loves making people happy. He loves dancing. He's great on the pole, all the things. So like I said, he does a really great job on stage, really focuses on what he needs to. Cause he's like, I'm not just going to get distracted because there's a hot man in the audience. But he does, after he gets off stage, go to the bouncer and is like, hey, can you bring the guy at the bar back here? Like he's a friend of mine, yada, yada. So Mark comes back and Mark is like, so thank you so much for those cookies the other night. I have your Tupperware. I just brought it, you know, because I was just going to drop it off.
This is the only way I could have possibly returned this to you, even though I have been to your home where you live.
And he says like, I was going to drop it off, but then you took the stage and I had to watch, you know, you were magnetic.
That makes a lot of sense. And I would have to agree.
And so he's like, I don't know where the switch happens. Clearly internally, they both are talking about how they're attracted to each other, but they didn't really flirt much during that first conversation.
Right. Because it was like a reverse coming out. It's like someone telling you about yourself for you.
Dragging out, if you will.
Yeah.
And like, again, there's no indication of like, I guess like, sure, he shows up to the strip club, to your place of work and watches you strip. And maybe that's a sign that he wants to have sex with you. I don't know. I feel like there was a switch that happened in the book and we don't know what it is, but all of a sudden they just know that they're going to hook up with each other, which by the way, essentially, Neil says something along the lines of even if he didn't know it yet, we were going to fuck tonight.
Like, obviously
Mark was going to fuck me tonight. And so I guess, you know what? He does say, I went by your house, but you had already left for work. So
okay,
he did.
Good to know. That's good to know.
He could have left it with a note, but that's fine.
Whatever. The only reasonable thing to do is show up at someone's place of work.
Yeah. And he's like, so what time do you get off work? Like immediately goes into it. And
does this work have a private room?
And
Can
he's
you
like,
take a
well,
break?
my last dance is at like 1:30 and then I need to go home and then I need to shower. So like, do you want to come around 2:30? He's like, is that too late? And let's not forget, boy has a corporate job, right?
Yes.
So Marcus is like, won't go into work tomorrow so we can fuck. Like,
all right, bro.
Yeah.
That's your problem, not mine. I'm here for it.
And he says, yes, but I'll arrange. Okay. So he asks if he has work tomorrow, and he goes, yes, but I'll arrange to go in late. Some things are worth using personal time for. Maybe I'll just take the whole day off and we can spend it talking about ... Christmas traditions. And Neil says, you mean like eating cookies off each other's naked bodies? Like the way
Christmas traditions.
Which, by the way, last week we had an orgy. So like Christmas traditions,
obviously,
as we so often say. So he's like, okay, go home, take a nap, because I'm not gonna let you, like, I'm not giving you a break tonight. And he goes, hellhounds, we have a reputation for having crazy stamina, like that.
All right, if you say so.
We're just layering it on, right? We're so into this all of a sudden, and it came out of nowhere. So, okay, we are now later on in the evening, and Mark shows up to his house. He's obviously entranced by the whole concept of him dancing. And when he walks in, I have to explain what he's wearing. What Neil is wearing.
Yes.
Neil is wearing a very short, very silky looking embroidered peacock green robe.
Wow.
Where the belt is loosely tied, that the whole thing looks like it's going to slip off any second.
I mean, tasteful and normal thing to wear around your house when someone's going to come who is hot.
Exactly. And so they're like, hey, come on in. And then he immediately takes off the robe, like takes off the robe, walks down the hall.
I mean, he couldn't be naked at the door. What if someone else was also outside?
That's true. So he follows him to the bedroom, and the first thing that is said in the bedroom is top or bottom.
Well, how else are you going to navigate if you don't know who's who?
Mark says either. Neil says, me too.
Flip a coin.
And Neil is climbing on the bed and pops open a bottle of lube, and he's like, I'll bottom this time if you don't mind. And Mark's like, whatever you want, and just drops.
Okay, naughty Neil.
Sure, Santa. Okay. Then Neil turns around and is like, your dick looks human.
Uh-huh.
And I don't quite understand this, but Mark says the difference isn't apparent until I come. So in my mind, knowing what I know, is it nodding? Right?
That's what I was going to. I assumed it was nodding, but would that specifically be something you found out about during the coming part specifically? Wouldn't you notice that?
Yeah, because it knots when you come, so then it stays in
come
there.
out. Okay, yeah.
But he goes, really? I nod, and he turns onto his hands and knees. Someone should write a sonnet about that ass, seriously. Okay, sorry, getting off topic. He says, barbs.
Barbs? I wasn't thinking barbs.
And of course, Neil is like, barbs. And Mark says, it won't hurt. Their cartilage, you'll definitely feel it though. And it feels amazing.
If you say so.
Okay. So then they're lubing up and they just immediately get down to it. They make a joke about eating each other. Very funny. Haha, yes.
Hilarious.
And at one point, I can't emphasize how short this sex scene is compared to some of the other books we do. Okay. It is very brief. It is very much right to the point. And it almost feels like it's just sex, right? So I was kind of under the impression of, they're just going to hook up. Like this is just a sexual encounter, but that is not the direction this book goes.
Okay.
So I wish I would have gotten a little more emotion in it. Like that they were a little more invested emotionally, You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying. It's like
this just felt very impersonal.
A little more getting to know each other, a little more intimacy, a little warmer.
They don't even kiss in this interaction. Is what I'm going to tell you. Like that's how remote it is in my mind. So Mark actually asks Neil to enthrall him. And Neil is hesitant because he's just gotten these powers under control. He's like, I don't want to do that to you during sex. And he's like, no, I want you to.
I think it seems specifically like the only time you should use it is consensually during sex.
Yes.
Whatever.
And he goes, like, it's going to feel amazing. I know it's going to, and we'll both love it. And sure enough, he does. And apparently it's just like psychedelic. Like I can't explain the amount of drug-induced euphoria it seems like they have from this interaction. Okay.
I'm happy for them.
Yeah, no, they have a really great time. And apparently after they have orgasmed, they decide they've only just begun. Okay, now cut scene. All right. So we don't get any more description. Again, they have not even kissed on page.
Maybe they didn't kiss in the interaction.
Weird. So Mark goes to work, to his little desk job, right? And we've all been in an office, corporate office before.
Yeah.
There's not much privacy, right?
No.
So if you've got a little glow about you, people are going to notice.
I guess.
Maybe. What I will say is I'm curious what HR is like for, this government organization, because immediately everyone is on Mark being like, what's got you in such a good mood?
Oh, so you fucked an incubus. We can tell. You got that stank on you.
Yeah. He notes that a lot of his coworkers are hellhounds, but he does have like one sorcerer and a succubus, but like most of them are hellhounds.
Okay.
What is a trait you would assume a hellhound has?
Good smell.
Yes, you are correct.
How did I know?
So he all of a sudden everybody is sniffing the air.
Oh no, you smell like sex.
Not just that. Everybody obviously points out there's that one coworker, who's like kind of an asshole and like kind of a douchebag. And immediately is like, you had sex. And like jabbing a finger.
Why would you ever?
Yeah. And everybody's like, he's like, if you're not having sex, like, I'm sorry for you. Like, I'm sorry I'm getting more sex than you. What do you want me to say?
I think the fair response is like, are you not? Or like, it's okay if you're not, but like, it's not embarrassing that I am.
The more harmful thing, though, to this group of employees is the stench of cookies.
They're like, where the fuck do you get those cookies? We don't got the good cookies anymore.
Yes. Essentially, one of the coworkers is like, tell us about the cookies. And he goes, what cookies?
Brother.
And his internal dialogue goes, I will not show fear. Stonewall. Just immediately. And everybody turns and sniffs deeply at one time. Okay.
Oh no. Like, you definitely smell like cookies, bro.
And he's like, somebody says, the cookies you ate recently and didn't share with your teammates, the people who have your back and protect you from death.
Your pack, as it were.
Yes. And he goes, there was only one cookie and I bought it on the way to work this morning.
Fucking liar. We could smell it.
And somebody goes, that they reference that they smell peppermint, vanilla, and cranberry, which there is no cookie where you'd put all three of those in there, which means that he must have had multiple cookies. Who do you think we are? Stupid? Like,
look, I think that's fair because cranberry and peppermint would not be, at least to me, a winning flavor profile.
Yeah. So then he kind of smirks and he goes, that's right. You smell icing and peppermint cookies and cranberry and white chocolate cookies and vanilla cookies made with real vanilla bean. I ate them all, nearly 24 of them, and some I crumbled onto the body of a super hot incubus I spent the day with and ate them off him because my life is just that great, bitches.
Wow.
You know what?
Congratulations, Mark, first of all.
Mark, that sounds like a great accomplishment.
Really rubbing it in, Mark.
Yes. Then Cody, who is the one douchebag employee, goes, you had cookie sticks and you didn't invite us? And everyone freezes and like looks at him and they're like, no, dude, not like that. And so just to get like the thing off of him, he's like, well, you still had cookies. Like, and everybody starts bickering about the
Hey, yeah, we're still mad about that, actually.
So anyway, okay. All of this to say, they're very upset about the cookie thing. And they start saying, so where's your cookie hookup? And he's like, this incubus is making these cookies for me. And they're like, we will pay the incubus for cookies. Like, get us cookies. Whatever you have to do, just get us to them.
I'm so fascinated by the fact that none of these people can seem to just try to bake their own cookies.
No,
Like they
because
don't
that's
have a
not in
kitchen.
their culture. That's not in the
Yeah,
culture.
couldn't possibly deign to try and make one cookie.
So they end up, one of them ends up convincing him to text Neil and be like, hey. And he was like, actually, Neil goes, that's actually a great idea. They should come to my Christmas party on Christmas Eve. Your coworkers should come. I'll have a bunch of cookies there.
Okay, interesting.
You guys have spent one day together.
Interesting mix of, it just still feels a little conflict of interest to me to have someone who has been, like, client's not the right word, but sort of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Just no. Yes, it's definitely weird. And also, like, are they still technically working together, or is his case done? Like, can they be?
The ethics got to be all over the place for this one.
Yeah. So anyway, they essentially decide, Mark is very hesitant because he's like, you don't understand how hellhounds are. Like, we are the life of a party. We will be rambunctious. I will try and keep them under control, but I can't promise anything. And I want you to know,
cookies more than anything.
Yes. All of this timeline, now that the 3 weeks has passed and he visited him at the strip club, it's been less than a week. Like, yeah, like it's been 2 days since the strip club incident, right?
Yeah.
And then now we're like just a couple days, and then it's going to be yet again, they're meeting up for this Christmas party. So this is moving extremely fast. And he's like, yeah, okay, bring your friends. Thursday, 6 p.m., whatever. So Christmas Eve comes. And Mark is hella nervous. He's like going around and testing the sturdiness of the furniture.
Mm-hmm. And
Neil is like, what are you doing? And he's like, they will get up and dance on the furniture. They will destroy this furniture. So I don't know what to tell you other than these guys. I shouldn't say guys because there's all genders, but the hellhounds come.
Yeah.
And they bring a gift. What would you gift this host, this incubus host who has the cookies?
Well, I would give a sincere gift since apparently cookies are an insane commodity that no other creature could possibly come by. So, like, I'm thinking housewarming. I'm thinking a bottle of wine. I'm thinking maybe some cute little kitchen towels. I don't think they're giving this gift. This is just what I would give as a gift, sort of in a housewarming, thank you for bringing us to your Christmas party with your cookies that we're going to eat kind of a deal. But maybe they're hellhounds and dogs, so maybe it's like a bone.
Oh, that would be very funny. It is not. Neil looks down at the items in his hand that these friends of Mark's has given him. It's a Bible and a moleskin notebook. I'm going to just directly read this. A nice Bible, sure, with a white faux leather cover embossed in gold. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there's a million sticky tabs in it. And when he goes on to compare the notebook and the Bible, he realizes that all of the entries in the notebook reference points in the Bible that are historically inaccurate, which is such a weirdly specific gift to give.
Really, and like, here's where they got this wrong. I was there.
Yeah. They essentially go on to say that at first he thinks that they handmade this for him, and they go, actually, no, our former boss, who was a human, like really hated the discrepancies. And so every time he found one, he would go in and write in this notebook. And then like, it was like a big joke in the office. And so we just gifted it to you, which I'm a little like,
okay,
interesting. That's really, really interesting. Also, they go on to reference the fact that like Jesus was not, what was it? Jesus was like a alien who came. It was something so different and paranormal. And they're like, haha, they think that he's the son of God. Anyway, it was just like a very like, what an interesting gift to give, and for the author to write.
We're going to tell him essentially all, kind of like an all the secrets of the universe thing, but
yes,
through the lens of the Bible.
So all of the hellhounds scarf down all the food, and at one point, somebody turns the music from Christmas carols to Gangnam Style, and the Hellhounds want to do a dance off, and Mark has to reel in his coworkers like multiple times.
We cannot Gangnam Style. It's too intense.
Yeah. And then he ushers the friends out the door, and they are alone, and they're like, wow, I really like you guys. I like you. And he's like, I like you too. And I like your friends. And we should be together next Christmas too, or like when it's nicer out, and we can use maybe the backyard for the dance party. And they're like, yeah. And then he goes, hey, I got a pole in my second room. Do you want me to dance for you on the pole? And he's like, yeah, fuck yeah. Merry Christmas to me. The end. That's it.
Did the friends leave first?
Yeah, no, I told you guys they left.
Okay.
Like literally, he ushers them all out. Like they all leave. I don't know why we had to. Like it just feels like a very incomplete ending.
Well, it left me wanting more. I tell you.
I want to understand, which maybe it makes more sense if we were to read the first book, why the Bible was like a bigger joke, but it just felt very fucking random. I also am like, okay, I felt like they were not romantically interested. Like I thought they were just sexually interested until like the end when they're like
kind of dating.
Bring your coworkers to my holiday party.
Let's spend all of our Christmases together now.
And let's hang out in the summer when it's nicer out and we can have a dance party in the backyard. Okay.
Well,
also, you want to get it on in the guest bedroom because I have another pole in there.
Well, we want to see me do a little dance again?
Dancey dance.
Do a little dance.
I was shocked for this to be called Naughty Neil and it to be not that naughty.
Honestly, Neil was pretty nice.
And yeah, the whole thing just felt very, very easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. So with that said, let's jump into our scorecard because I'm already getting on it. Diversity wise, obviously we love having interspecies connections, but we also have two gentlemen getting it on with different types of penises. What do you think of the plot?
For the plot, I will give it a 4. I felt like it was robust. There was a lot going on.
I will also give it a 4 because there was a huge backstory to it. And I know, again, it's the second book or like the 1.5 book in a series. So I can't,
Right.
I'm not sure exactly how much of that carried over. Again, I come back to why did we need to have the whole plot with the Christmas party? Like,
just for fun, just to show their cute relationship dynamic and to then subsequently reveal that there is a stripper pole in the second room.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Smut, I am going to drop it very low. Low.
Drop it low.
And I'm going to put a 1.5.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to give it a 3 for sexy dancing, also included, but admittedly, it's pretty mid.
Yeah, I was just really disappointed. I thought, okay, we just walk into the house, immediately go to the bedroom and lube up and then have a little anal and it's done. Like, and it was like maybe equivalent to 2 pages. So it just didn't feel like enough for me for a 60-page book about. Okay. Cover is there for you to describe. I will disclose there's also 2 covers I've seen, but this is the one that is on like when you go to purchase it. So please let our friends know what you see.
Well, this cover is a big fat lie because it says Naughty Neil, but what I'm seeing is the nicest looking Neil my eyes have ever beheld.
This is true. Also, I'm curious. Yeah, I guess that's got to be Neil if he's wearing.
I think it's Neil because he's got a Santa hat. So there is sort of just like a nondescript background that does have a community of species government logo in the background.
Yeah,
and then in front of that is just kind of a handsome guy, but like a pretty regular handsome guy with a Santa hat. And in front of him it says Naughty Neil.
Yeah,
and I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. What are you gonna give it?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's a really nice Naughty Neil.
It's a very nice. There's nothing naughty looking about that Neil.
It's the most pleasant Neil.
I will say that this was a very low ranking book for us. I'm at 56%. You're at 66%. That's not to take away when we do the scorecards. If they tank in one area, it really fucks them over for the rest of the.
That's true.
card.
We've often said, our rating system is
it's so terrible. It's a terrible rating system. Maybe we should reevaluate for the new year.
As we always say, but as I'm sure we'll say again. Who cares?
But I will say it had a pretty thick plot. And we had a lot of backstory to all of the context around these different paranormal groups and all of that. So what is your Say Smut moment from the book?
I guess having a surprise penis that looks like a wasp is pretty wild.
That will always be wild. Yeah.
It honestly didn't come into play as much as I thought it might. I thought there'd be a lot more like play with it.
Exactly. And the barbs.
Oh yeah, the barbs, but they're like cartilage.
Yeah.
So, question mark?
So it just feels like it's maybe just like a ribbed situation, like equivalent to ribbing.
It's ribbed for everyone's pleasure, I would say.
I would say that obviously I'm thrown off by the inviting coworkers to your brand new boyfriend's Christmas party. I also will not get over the fact that they just like walked in to the house and immediately just got to business.
Yep.
When there was no conversation of like, oh, are you interested in me? I'm interested in you. We're going to flirt a little bit.
That said, I did appreciate the efficiency of their exchange. Top or bottom? Both. Me too. Can I bottom this time? Sure. Let's go for it.
Love the consent. Love the communication. Any other Say Smut moments?
I mean,
the Bible.
No, that's pretty much it.
The Bible's got to be on there too.
The Bible.
That is our book. You can find us, if you so choose, on TikTok and Instagram at saysmutpodcast. We would also love your book recommendations as we head into the new year. So send those our way via email at saysmutpodcast@gmail.com and pop us a rating or review on the podcast platform of your choosing. And as you go into the holiday season, look, don't be letting strangers into your house no matter what they tell you they're a part of.
But also don't use your, even if you don't know about it, just, I guess, try not to overly persuade people with your magic powers.
Yeah, with your charm and your enthrall.
Yeah, be careful with your enthrall, I would say.
Yeah. And with that, stay smutty. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.